Hi, a question to Tony and David. What's your process when you're writing and also drawing? Do you have to submit an entire script first, or can you kind of do both at the same time?
For me, I just basically, I'll talk to Mike Marks, the editor, and give him a basic idea of kind of where I want to go with it, and tell him the villains I'm thinking of using, just to make sure that there's no conflict with other books using the same guys, or if he's overused or whatnot. And if he says, cool, I like that, then I'll flesh it out more. I don't want to waste my time if he's not interested in the basic premise. Once I get that, then I flesh out maybe a 3 or 4 page outline of, in very general terms, of the story arc, so that he can say, yeah, I really like where this is going, and then I'll do what's called story beats. I'll just beat out beat by beat story points, and then I go page by page, and sometimes I go panel by panel, but sometimes I don't need to do that since I'm also drawing it. And then I do a lot of dialogue with when I start getting into the later stages, and that's when I turn in my real kind of script to the editor. And then I do the final scripting after all my art is done, and I've already made notes along the way, and have really prepared myself. Then it takes maybe another week or so, or a few days, depending on how prepared I am. And then we're good to go. By then we're flying by the seat of our pants. I got to get it done by tomorrow, and then we're going to the printers, and you got to get this done, and it's a lot of fun now.
With my book, I did a really long outline. It was like 18 pages of stuff for the first 6 issues, and then the first issue, I did a full script. The whole works with dialogue and everything, which ended up completely contradicting everything that I had written for the first 6 issues. So now I'm working on all that, and as I'm drawing the book, I'm finding that no matter how much I knew what I wanted to do with the page, it's changing, and I totally wasted my time doing all the dialogue first. So, and I work with writers. I have worked with writers, obviously, for a long time, and I feel like I'm pretty good at taking a script, like a full script, and making sure that they don't have to make any dialogue changes based on what I do with the arc. But it's hard for me to be so true to it when it's my own stuff. I don't mind running over myself. I think in the future I'm going to go a little bit looser and maybe do the dialogue at the end.
Well, you get a lot of, some of your best writing or art or whatever is spontaneity. And a lot of times you get like a really cool idea that you didn't think of in the initial stages, just because you have so much time to think about it every day. You're sitting there doing a panel, you get a great idea for dialogue, or you get a great idea for a new plot twist that you didn't think about. And I think the spontaneity really breeds some really cool and interesting ideas that you didn't foresee. So I think that has a lot to do with it as well, if you're able to loosen up a little bit with it.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
So we just give this away?
Yes, sure.
Hi, how you guys doing?
I just asked.
Hi, as a young artist, I'm very curious. Did you guys do a lot of light drawing in order to learn anatomy, or was it mostly from books and maybe your imagination?
I learned entirely from comic books.
Oh, really?
Yeah. To be honest, I failed the high school art twice, and I have never actually done life drawing. But I did, I got the George Richmond's Guide to Life Drawing, and I looked at a lot of fitness magazines. So but I don't know if you can count that as like traditional life drawing, really. I haven't actually done that.
Your art is amazing, so I guess it's good for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Where's him?
Howdy.
So Jim said we'd give this away to the first person that gives us their credit card number. Hey, well, what about let's do this? Whose credit card number ends with a number 5?
No, it's got to be more than one number.
More than one number?
Yeah, like numbers. Yeah, there's definitely some with 5. 0, 0. Something like
8-5.
8-5, 8-5.
Whose credit card number ends with an 8-5?
Credit card that ends in 8-5. Right there?
Oh.
Damn it.
Should run here, tackle each other.
Show them the card. We'll need this for
Nice. My question has to do when you guys are working with writers, do you prefer to work from plot or from full script? And if from full script, is there like a maximum number of panels you like to see per page?
I think 5 panels is good. I mean, it's enough to like get the, what you're trying to get across. 3 panels is cool if you're doing big action. I don't like having an action page that has like 6 panels on it, for instance, because then you're squeezing in, you don't get a chance to like, I don't know, at least for me, I like to draw big, so I prefer less panels with action, and I'm okay with doing a lot of panels if it's just talking, people talking, and small, nuances and whatnot. I can do, 8 panels or 10 panels, because it can look a little more interesting. It's just a boring talking page that way. So that's my take on it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm all for if I have 2 5-panel pages of people just talking, I'm more than happy to make a big 10-panel page. Why not?
I have no real preference. Whoa. Yeah. But if they can link like 5 panels or 5 pages together, whew, that's fun. So.
But everyone prefers scripts, full scripts?
At this point, the industry norm is full scripts, so to me it's a moot point whether, it's less work working from full script for sure.
But the Marvel way, the Stan way is kind of like outmoded.
It's not in vogue, yeah.
Okay.
So.
Great, thank you.
Really, when you wake up in the morning and you have to draw a page and it's full script, it's just easier. I don't have to think about where I'm going to put panels or anything. Just, with a really good writer, it's easy.
No, and working off plot script, it's almost like you have to edit the writer. Like sometimes they overwrite a page, or sometimes they underwrite it. So it's up to you to sometimes even just shift around what's going on from one page to the other. So it's a lot more work. You should get co-plotter credit when you do it. But you don't.
Good afternoon, guys. My name is Rick De Silva, independent comic artist, and sometimes when I get a script, I kind of suffer from performance anxiety, where it's like where to start, how to start with it, and I just wanted to get some feedback from you guys. When you get the script, what's one of the first steps in the process, whether it's thumbnailing the entire book, or do you do breakdowns for the entire book and then go in and do details afterwards, or do you approach it at a page-by-page basis?
I'm page by page. I just start with page 1, but I was so afraid of my Dark Knight book that I went ahead and drew pages where there was no Batman and nothing really happening, just to try and get myself into it. But normally that doesn't happen. I just start with I think you just have to go for it.
I usually draw a couple pages in a row and then I jump around. So I'll go to the end, go to the middle, and that way if I'm rushed for time and I have to kind of push out some pages, it won't look like I lost steam at the end of the book, and you won't know. You won't know, yeah. So I have these little tricks. So if you flip through the books, and if all of a sudden page 5 looks like it was rushed out, that was probably the last page I did. But you don't know that, right? And then a lot of times if I'm really rushed and I have to do like 2 pages in one day, and this was like many years ago, I haven't done this in a long time, but I would actually go through the book and pair up the 2. So I would never do 2 difficult pages together because it's impossible. It'll knock you out. So I could find an easy page and a hard page and do those 2 that one day, and then we'll just kind of pair up the book that way. So there are ways to kind of break it apart. But if you jump out of order, it's like watching a movie where they screw up and you see like a shirt or a stain on a shirt jump around, and that does happen too, but it doesn't, unless you draw like 6 fingers or someone on someone, like they don't usually catch it.
Thank you, guys.
Hi guys. Great artists are always growing, and you guys are all great artists. My question is, what sort of medium or technique or challenge are you guys excited about right now in growing? Something that either challenges you or some medium or technique?
I have a digital panel at 3:45 later, so I would say digital for sure. Aside from the fact that we can now read comic books on iPad and mobile devices, there's things that the technology allows us to do with our storytelling or prevents us from doing, for example, like double page spreads or triple page spreads, that will change the way we do comics. I mean, everyone's gotten very comfortable with the 22-page format and three tiers, 5 to 6 panels a page. That whole kind of narrative structure is pretty much locked in. When you go digital, you don't have to read comics that way. In fact, they aren't read that way. In fact, your panels are blown up really big if they choose to read the comic from panel to panel, and that's not really intended. And they can read the comic panel. When you read it panel by panel, they might not see the 3 panels you drew next to each other meant to be viewed and interpreted all at the same time. Things like that. So that's the thing that I think, I don't know if I look forward to it as much as it's a challenge, and I think it'll be exciting when people finally kind of get the hang of, sort of using the technology to create sort of new ways of telling comic book stories.
Cool, thanks.
Hi. Oh, just got really nervous.
It's hard. It happens to us
Really?
too. Yeah.
So cool. I'm an aspiring